From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
The grand jury findings in the Drejon Reed case are in. Now at 4:30, we're breaking down the very latest information from the special prosecutor and Indiana State Police. Plus, hospitals across the state are seeing an increase in mental health cases, how they're working to ease burdens for both the patients and the staff. And a park on the near south side of Indianapolis is back and better than ever this morning. We'll take a look inside that new space and give you an update there. It is Veterans Day, so thank you to all who have served. Thank you to all the families who made sacrifices. It's Wednesday as well, and a much cooler day in our forecast, Todd. You could hear the rain coming in right as I was falling asleep last night. It came down pretty hard at my house.
Yeah, you know, when that cold front went through, we had that quick burst of rainfall that went through. Thankfully, it went through rather uneventful. We didn't have any severe weather. That was the good news. But we're still dealing with a few rain showers here as we kind of transition now from that record warmth to some cooler temperatures for the remainder of the week. Some light rain showers up here in the Kokomo area, just south of Logansport here, and then also just south of Peru there in southern portions of Miami County. A few lingering showers here drifting into the Brazil area. It's going to drift towards Greencastle, staying just north of I-70, and that's really just about it as far as the rain showers go. The bulk of the rainfall, as you see, is now pushed off to our east, moving through the Ohio area. We're still left with some cloud cover this morning, and you're going to have to be a little bit patient for the clouds to move out, but eventually it turns into a pretty bright day for us. But look at the cooler temperatures still working their way in. 56 right now in Muncie, 52 in Indy, but Lafayette and Peru and Terre Haute, you have fallen back down into the 40s. Eventually here, everybody this morning will get down into the 40s, and then we'll slowly start to climb from that point forward throughout the day. But it's going to be a slow process. Should start to get the sunshine in here by mid-morning. Should be completely sunny by this afternoon with high temperatures eventually rebounding, Lauren, back up into the low 50s.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads this morning. This is I-65 near 30th Street north of downtown. You can see traffic here is moving along up to speed. No delays to slow you down. Keep in mind as you're traveling out on the roads, we do have a ramp closure for construction. MLK Street northbound I-65. That'll be closed through late November, and we'll keep you updated on that ongoing construction project north of the downtown area. But other than that, everything is traveling smoothly. It is 4:32. A grand jury has released its findings regarding the Drejon Reed case. The 21-year-old was shot and killed by an IMPD officer back in May following a chase on the city's north side. During a press conference yesterday, Special Prosecutor Rosemary Curry said that the grand jury, which was made up of Marion County residents, ruled that there was insufficient evidence to prove that Officer DeJour Mercer violated the law when he shot and killed Reed. Both Curry and the State Police Superintendent Doug Carter says the special investigation was not taken lightly.
I'm a mother of two black boys. And I know, thank you. I don't know how Mr. Reed's mother feels, but I'm a mother of two black boys. I also am very empathetic toward Officer Mercer. I know that that had to be a difficult position to be in. So all the way around, like I said, no one wins.
We didn't pick a side, and we will never pick a side. We have hundreds and hundreds of hours in this investigation for really two reasons. Number one, to explain to the family of Drejon Reed what happened. They lost a child. Number two, for the citizens of this great city to explain what happened on that day.
Investigators with Indiana State Police showed material from their investigation that they say is factual, but not necessarily the same material the grand jury reviewed while considering whether to indict Officer Mercer. Coming up in the next half hour, our own Kelsey Anderson is going to walk us through that evidence and the investigation released in this case. And as you know, we've been following this case for months now, and you can find everything you want to know about the investigation, as well as both the press conferences from ISP and the Special Prosecutor Curry online right now. It's at WRTV.com. There you'll also find reaction from the community, city leaders, IMPD, and more. Developing this morning, Metro Police are investigating the deaths of 2 people at a home on the city's southeast side as a murder-suicide. Homicide detectives were called to Amarillo Way just before 6:30 Tuesday evening. The neighborhood is near Stop 11 Road and South Combs Road. Investigators say officers found an adult male and female inside the residence with injuries consistent with gunshot wounds. Both were pronounced dead at the scene. Officers are asking that anyone that may have seen or heard something to please call Crime Stoppers. That number is 317-262-TIPS. Let's turn now to the pandemic and its impact on Hoosier lives. A grim milestone reported on Tuesday. State health officials confirmed 63 new Hoosier coronavirus deaths. That's the highest number in a single report since April. This month so far, 387 Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. This month is now the second deadliest for the coronavirus since July. To date, nearly 4,500 Hoosiers have died with the coronavirus. Health officials also report nearly 4,900 new coronavirus cases. Since March, more than 219,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus. The latest data shows that the state has 30% of its ICU beds still available. COVID-19 patients account for nearly 28% of ICU beds being used right now. Monday set another record for hospitalized Hoosiers receiving treatment for COVID-19 with more than 2,300. While doctors and nurses are dealing with an increase in COVID-19 patients, emergency room staff are also seeing an increase in people coming in for mental health issues. The amount of people who need mental health care has greatly increased this year. In IU Health's large emergency departments, 1 in 4 patients coming in are seeking behavioral health assistance. Over at Eskenazi, health clinics have seen a 35% increase in people seeking mental health care in just the past 3 months, and doctors and resources are running thin.
Compared to 2019, we are seeing about double the amount of patients coming into our emergency departments with a primary diagnosis of behavioral health. A lot of the inpatient units are reaching capacity.
Well, if you are experiencing depression, suicidal thoughts, or anxiety, experts recommend starting with your primary care physician. You can also stop into any emergency room or call a mental health hotline for help. And to help healthcare workers that may be struggling, Eskenazi is providing time for staff to talk with a supervisor. IU Health is also providing support for workers, and they're getting ready to start a peer support program as well as counseling. And we know the pandemic is also having a negative effect on some children. A study out of the UK shows that some young children are losing basic skills like how to eat with a knife and fork, and others have regressed back into diapers. The report are based on findings from more than 900 visits to education and social care providers across England since September. Some of the children most affected by the disruption of the pandemic were those in their earliest years of education with working parents. Among older children, some had fallen behind in math, struggled with literacy and concentration, or lost physical fitness. Others showed signs of mental distress, which showed up in increased eating disorders and self-harm. However, the report found that some of the children have coped well because they've spent quality time with parents and caregivers. A park on the near south side of Indianapolis is back and better than ever. The city celebrating the grand reopening of Sandorf Park happened on Tuesday, and it features a musical sensory plaza, a fully accessible play structure, new basketball courts, a track for skateboarding, and so much more. The park is on Dawson Street, right behind Frederick Douglass IPS School number 19. The Affordable Care Act is being challenged before the U.S. Supreme Court once again. Straight ahead, why some legal experts say the law may be upheld once again. A recall alert this morning for anyone that owns a Ring doorbell. Coming up, why the company says its product may be a fire hazard and how you can make sure that your device is safe. Todd.
And Lauren, we're in the time frame of transitioning right now from the record warm to much cooler air that's going to be working in over the course of the next couple days. And there's still a few lingering showers, as you see on WRTV Storm Team radar. The showers will move out, the cold air will move in. We'll talk all about it coming up in your WRTV Storm Team forecast.
It is 4:42 as the Trump campaign continues its challenge of the election results. President-elect Joe Biden is working on his transition to the White House. At his first news conference since the election, Biden reassured the American people that he's forging ahead with transition. This despite the fact the White House is not cooperating with the transition and President Trump has yet to concede. Biden is keeping the spotlight on his policy, namely protections for the Affordable Care Act and the landmark law that passed under President Barack Obama.
This argument will determine whether health care coverage of more than 20 million Americans who acquired it under the Affordable Care Act will be ripped away in the middle of the nation's worst pandemic in a century. Over 100 million people with pre-existing conditions like asthma, diabetes, cancer could once again be denied coverage.
President-elect Biden went on to say that health care is not a partisan issue but a human issue, and he'll do everything he can to keep that law intact. Meanwhile, justices of the Supreme Court will continue to hear arguments on the fate of the Affordable Care Act today. The law is being challenged by several Republican-led states. They argue that individual mandate at the heart of the ACA, requiring all Americans to have health insurance, should be struck down as unconstitutional, and they want the whole law thrown out with that. With lawyers supporting the ACA, they say it can survive without the mandate. Justices John Roberts and Brett Kavanaugh appear to agree.
I think it's hard for you to argue that Congress intended the entire act to fall if the mandate were struck down when the same Congress that lowered the penalty to zero did not even try to repeal the rest of the act.
This is a very straightforward case for severability under our precedents, meaning that we would excise the mandate and leave the rest of the act in place.
The Affordable Care Act was previously upheld by the Supreme Court twice in 2012 and 2015. If struck down, millions of Americans, including those with pre-existing conditions, could lose their current health coverage. The final decision is not expected, though, until the spring. The Vatican has released its report on the investigation into former U.S. Cardinal Theodore McCarrick. The two-year internal investigation found several bishops and cardinals downplayed or dismissed reports of sexual abuse allegations about McCarrick. According to the report, the late Pope John Paul II promoted McCarrick to cardinal back in 2001, despite warnings about the allegations against him. In 2005, Pope Benedict asked for McCarrick's resignation when accusations of harassment and abuse towards adults began to surface once again, but McCarrick did not step down. In 2018, an internal church investigation in New York found allegations of abuse against McCarrick to be credible. Although he maintained his innocence, he resigned as cardinal, and last year he was defrocked by Pope Francis. He's the highest-ranking church figure to be defrocked. And the time now is 4:45. The NFL is making moves to get more minorities in higher positions. League owners have approved a proposal that will reward organizations for promoting minority employees to head coach, general manager, or team president for other clubs. That means if a team loses a minority coach or an executive to one of those positions, they'll get more draft picks for the next 2 years. The proposal still needs to gain approval from the NFL Players Association before it becomes final. For the first time in the U.S. Naval Academy history, a black woman will be in charge of the student body. Midshipman First Class Sydney Barber has been named Brigade Commander for the spring semester. That's the highest student leadership position at the military school out in Annapolis, Maryland. Barber will lead much of the day-to-day activities and training for more than 4,400 cadets. She's a mechanical engineering major who aspires to be a Marine Corps ground officer. The announcement follows another big first for black women in the U.S. Navy. Back in July, Lieutenant J.G. Madeline Swegley became the Navy's first black female tactical air pilot. And he's a top dog, literally. Sully H.W. Bush, the former service dog to the late President George H.W. Bush, now has 2 statues in his honor. The yellow lab captured hearts after a photo of him resting near the President Bush's casket went viral. His first statue is at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center outside of Washington, D.C., and now he has a second statue in Smithtown, New York. That's where Vet Dogs is located. It's the service group that trained him before he served for Bush during the last 6 months of his life. At Walter Reed, Sully's duties include reducing stress as well as just making people happy, something he no doubt excels at. And he is a cutie. Great statue there. He's admiring it, Todd.
All right.
That is That's a good-looking statue.
He's looking at us, so he's like, I look good there.
Yeah.
Now do I get a treat?
Yep.
All right, outside as you walk out the door, things are in the process of changing here across central Indiana. Yesterday you were walking out to a lot of warmth and quiet conditions. It's not very active on radar as you see behind me, but there are a few just lingering showers across parts of the area. A few light rain showers here right along US 31 from Peru north into Miami County, and then these are drifting off towards the Huntington area. And then we have this one little lone light shower that just went north of Brazil, sliding towards Greencastle. This should stay above I-70 here this morning, and this is kind of the last hurrah as far as the rainfall goes. But this is also the dividing line between temperatures in the 50s still to the east and the cooler air that is starting to work its way in. But the bulk of the rainfall, as you see, is now making its way off towards the east. And TrueCast will keep the clouds around through about midday, and then we should get into a lot of sunshine this afternoon. So it does turn into a very pleasant day for us, albeit a lot cooler than it has been, as we hit a record high temperature once again yesterday for the third consecutive day. Here's the view right now from downtown off to the west, and you see the cloud cover that's in place. You can see the flag still extended there on top of the One America building, as it's pretty breezy out there, but the winds have now switched. Past couple days, a southerly wind out of the northwest now at 16 miles per hour. The temperature right now sits at 49 degrees, and this colder air continues to work its way into the area. And here's that temperature contrast. Still 56 in Connorsville and 54 currently in Richmond, but look at the 40s from Peru to Lafayette to Terre Haute. What's going to happen here this morning is everybody is going to fall into the 40s before we start to slow climb back up to right around 50 degrees later on this afternoon. Chicago just above freezing. Look at Sioux Falls, 12 degrees right now. Minneapolis is at 23. We won't see the teens and 20s in our area for the most part, but we will get into the 30s, as I'll show you by tomorrow morning. But here's how your day breaks down today, hour by hour. And again, temperatures are going to struggle even as we get into the sunshine here by mid-morning, and then complete sunshine this afternoon. Highs are only right around 50 degrees later on today. We've actually already hit our official high for the day today, but that's what we get back to later on. This evening, you have plans, grab the coat. Temperatures will be falling from the 40s eventually into the 30s under a mainly clear sky. And then overnight tonight, temperatures down to right around freezing. So this time tomorrow, you're waking up to temperatures that are at freezing or maybe even just below here in northern locations. And then throughout the day tomorrow, sunshine, temperatures back up into the 50s. And here's a look at your 7-day planning forecast. A couple things are going to jump out at you. A high of only 48 degrees on Friday. Saturday morning could be a few snowflakes across the area, no accumulation, and then temperatures will warm. We'll deal with some scattered showers. Sunday briefly warmer at 62 and then back into the 40s, Lauren, for next week.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Pretty quiet out there in terms of traffic. This is a live look at I-465 and West 46th Street over on the northwest side. You can see traffic is traveling smoothly down there. We'll continue to keep a close eye on your interstates and your side streets as you're heading to work this Wednesday morning. We'll keep you updated on any issues. Now to a recall alert for you this morning. Ring is recalling some 350,000 of its video doorbells. This after reports they can catch on fire. According to the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, Ring has so far received 23 reports of fire involving its second-generation smart doorbells. At least 8 people suffered from minor burns, and there has been property damage. The Safety Commission says the doorbell battery can overheat if the incorrect screws are used for installation. That can pose fire and burn hazards. Recalled doorbells were sold in the U.S. and Canada between June and October this year. You can check to see if your device is affected by going to Ring's website. Tonight is country music's biggest night of the year, the annual CMA Awards, and you'll only see the show right here on WRTV. This year, it's going to look a little different as the stars will be primarily performing for a TV audience only due to the pandemic. No fans will be at Nashville's Music Center. Only the nominees, performers, and their guests will be in-house. The venue has been set up to resemble the first CMA Awards show back in 1967. Miranda Lambert leads the way this year with 7 nominations and is now the most nominated female artist in CMA Awards history. Darius, RUCKER, and REBA MCENTIRE will serve as the hosts.
This year is a really crazy year and different, and to be hosting with REBA is such an honor, and we're going to try to just get the performers on the stage, get the people on the stage that be on the stage and be good hosts and have a lot of fun, and hopefully, we laugh a lot.
Yeah, because everything has happened with the pandemic, the quarantine. We're going to try to keep it light, be funny. That's up to you. See? That's all I got to say, and he starts laughing.
You make me laugh.
Well, again, you can watch the 54th Annual CMA Awards tonight right here on WRTV from 8 to 11. Honoring those who serve, coming up on WRTV's special thank you to our Hoosier veterans. Plus, hospitals in rural areas are nearing critical bed status as coronavirus cases and hospitalizations are on the rise. Coming up, new at 5, how they're dealing with that surge. It is 4:52. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This morning, we want to pause and say thank you to everyone who has served and is currently serving our country, especially our Hoosier veterans. Armistice Day was first celebrated on November 11th, 1919, the first anniversary of the end of World War I. In 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower officially changed the name of the holiday to Veterans Day, commemorating veterans of all wars. As you can see, Hoosiers from all walks of life throughout our country's history have stepped up to serve our nation. We celebrate and honor them for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. So to all those who have served, from the greatest generation to Generation Z, we here at WRTV want to say a big thank you.